You are tuned in to Kids in the Pit. Hey guys, it's Gabe from the Kids in the Pit podcast. Today I'm here with Milo Aukerman from the Descendants. Hey Milo, I met you at Four Chord Festival and at Furnace Fest. I saw your band at both, and both your sets were really fun. I dressed this way because I was you for Halloween a few days ago, and here's the mask my mom and I made.
That's cool. I like the tie, the addition of the tie.
Yeah.
Which means it's more like the Cool to Be You album cover.
Yeah, kinda. Okay, so for those who don't know, what do you do in the band Descendants?
I'm the singer of the Descendants.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what year did the Descendants start, and how old were you?
They started in '78, but I didn't join until 1980, so I'm not even original. But
Wait,
yeah,
you weren't always in?
I wasn't always in it. It was originally a three-piece band, and then I joined 2 years later because two of the guys in the band went to my high school, and I heard some of their music and was really like, yeah, I love this. And so then I went to see them practice, and they said, hey, do you want to sing? I go, okay, I'll sing.
Wait, who was the singer? Was it the guitar player?
It was each of them sang. It was a three-piece power trio, and so like the guitar player sang some songs and the bass player sang some songs.
Oh.
And so when I joined, I just sang all the songs, basically.
That's cool.
Yeah.
1978 was actually the year my mom was born.
All right.
So, what song should someone not familiar with the Descendants check out?
Well, I mean, I guess people like to listen to Milo Goes to College a lot, and that's got some songs that we still play today, like Hope, or Bikeage we still do, Myage, we still do Suburban Home, and these are all songs that are kind of the canon of the main thrust of our live set. So yeah.
Oh. Also, why do so many of your songs end with like edge?
The edge, that's Bill's thing. Bill's the drummer, and he had this, I don't know, quirk in high school where he'd say, hey, hand me that pencil edge, or hey, I need some paper edge, and he would just add edge to everything. And he started doing it in high school, and it was just a little weird thing he did. And I think when he started writing songs, the first song he wrote was Myage, and it was actually called, he brought the song and said, hey, here's my song. It's my only song. So he called it Myage, like my song. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Subscribage to Kids in the Pit Edge.
There you go.
Okay, so is it cool having an action figure of yourself?
I mean, yeah, that's fun. That's the first time.
One.
This is like the second or third generation of these guys. The first generation, it was all bobbleheads, and the bobblehead guy had contacted me and said, hey, we want to do a Milo bobblehead, and I was just kind of blown away. I kind of put it up. There was like, I talked about our van. We had a Vans shoe, and I was like, okay, well now we know we've made it. Once you get a Vans shoe and a bobblehead, so that This is kind of the newest thing. Is like, I guess they've moved on from bobbleheads to more action figures now, and I guess this guy's kind of a Gumby thing, and you can kind of, articulate the arms and stuff and make them do stuff.
I've seen like grilled biscuits. Yeah, grilled biscuits ones.
Yeah, they're fun.
I think they're made by the same people because they like have a very similar style to that one.
I mean, I'm not a collector of stuff in general, but I think people who get into collecting, action figures and stuff, they could collect that.
Yeah. Well, I collect like guitar picks and set lists.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, and you can get them signed by the artist. That's fun.
Yeah.
Do you have anything signed by Bad Religion?
So there's this guy that sent me. It was like it was Christmas last year. He sent me a signed set list.
Nice.
From Bad Religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys are nice.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite Descendants song is Coffee Mug because it's so fast, even though I don't drink coffee yet. What is your favorite song to play live?
That's definitely one of them. We always play that one because we always come out on stage jacked up on coffee. That's just our thing. And so, yeah, we got to play Coffee Mug. But I love off of the Hypercaffeine record. It's just the really fast, extremely aggressive ones are my favorite ones, always to play live. So we'll always play stuff like Victim. We've been playing this song called Nightage, another Idge song.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
off
like
of Ninth
that
and
one.
Walnut. Yeah, I mean, and that's one because it's one of these songs that got written by the original bass player way back in the day, and we never actually did it. I actually never did it live, and so when I had a chance to do it live, to do it for that record, it was like kind of a real huge opportunity for me to kind of kind of relive my past in a certain way. Yeah.
Nightage is definitely one of my favorite songs because that really cool guitar riff in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like almost metal-like.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it was written by the bass player, so it actually starts on bass, and he's going booty doody doo 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 doo, and I mean he was a great bass player. That was Tony, and he actually wrote it about another bass player that he had a crush on. So it's kind of there's a whole thing in that song about like, I love the way you play bass, and by the way, I love you too. So.
Okay, so what is your favorite place you've toured in, and what's the most obscure place you've toured in?
My favorite place, I'd have to say, is probably Slovenia. Do you know where that is?
Yes, I do. I know geography. I know where every single country is in the world.
Yeah, okay.
Well, most of them.
Yeah, and Slovenia is great because it's a little off the beaten path. It's in Europe, but it's not really a place. It's not a destination that you really think of all the time. But it's just a wonderful place. It's kind of near the Italian Alps, and we always play this festival, punk rock holiday there, and it's just always a fantastically fun time.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah, Slovenia, I'll go back there anytime. Yeah, and then my most obscure place, we played China, and we I don't know if we're ever going to go back there. It was a lot of fun, but you don't get to go to China very much.
Have you played anywhere like Africa?
No, there's not that many punk rock shows. I can't imagine people being able to line up many punk rock shows there. Or say in India, I'd love to play India, but I guess we've played Japan. I guess that's probably the most exotic place we've played. I guess besides China is Japan. So, but nice. I love Japan too.
Yeah. Stick to Your Guns. You know Stick to Your Guns?
No.
Oh, they're like hardcore more, but they played. This is Africa Fest. It's a thing in Nairobi, Kenya.
Cool.
And they were the first ever American hardcore band to play in Kenya.
See, I'd love to do something like that, just to see a whole different culture that maybe hasn't really been exposed to this music, and you can be exposed to their culture, and they can be exposed to our culture. That's a whole great thing. Yeah.
I've heard of also Unearth and Comeback Kid. They played South Africa, like Cape Town, Johannesburg, stuff like that.
That's rock bands tend to go that direction for most.
They do.
For Africa, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have any crazy tour stories you'd like to share?
Oh man, I don't know. This is, how old are you? You're 11. 10. You're 10.
Almost 11.
We did stuff back in the day that's
not PC.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say it involved defecation and stuff, and so I won't go into it. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, I don't know. This is kind of like.
I don't know what defecation means.
Oh, poop.
Oh.
We have songs about farting and stuff, right? And so you might imagine that we might have some weird tour stories that involve things that come out of your butt, and we've been in situations where the bathrooms were uninhabitable and you couldn't do that, so you had to choose a creative way to go to the bathroom. Enough said.
Oh, okay then. So, what was the first concert you went to, and how old were you?
I think the first concert I went to that wasn't just some band playing at a fair, which doesn't count, I don't think, was actually Black Flag at Pollywog Park. So Black Flag had been around touring, or had been playing around LA for the most part, and they played a show at this park that was in my hometown basically, and so I thought, well, this is a good chance for me to see Black Flag. I'd heard of them, but hadn't heard their music or anything, and I went and to go see them play at Pollywog Park, and they started a riot. So that was kind of very memorable to see this band that I'd never heard of before. Just basically, it wasn't a riot. It was food. It was a food fight, really, is what it was.
A food fight?
Yeah, they started
at a hardcore show.
Well, yeah, because it was in a park, right? It was at the Pollywog Park. So everyone who came to the park to see the band, well, they didn't know who they were going to actually see. They thought they were going to see some like army marching band or something, but they were seeing Black Flag. And they all brought all the audience brought picnic baskets full of food, because that's what you do. You'd have a picnic while you watch this band play. So Black Flag tears into their first song, and people start throwing food at them because they say, "You guys suck, we hate your music." And so then Black Flag's throwing food back at other people. And I'm sitting there going, wow, I've never even heard of these guys. I've heard of them, but I hadn't heard their music. It was kind of went over my head, but very memorable at any rate.
I hope that there's a video for that on YouTube, because I want to see that.
You know what? I don't know if there is, but there's pictures for sure. There are definitely pictures. You can look up some pictures of the food fight.
Black Flag food fight.
Yeah, Pollywog Park.
Okay.
Very, very memorable, very historic in a certain way. Yeah.
Okay, so what are some bands you grew up listening to that influenced you in your musical career?
Well, I had to start with the Beatles. I mean, the Beatles they're a band that I'm old enough to have been around when they were playing, and I definitely I definitely kind of worshipped at the altar of the Beatles for many years. But then when New Wave happened, I kind of got into some New Wave bands like Devo. Devo was one that kind of helped me make the bridge to actually listen to punk, because once you listen to Devo, you're not that far from just listening to punk rock at that point. You heard of Devo?
No, I haven't.
Listen to some Devo. Devo's great. And I was a nerd too. I was a nerd, so Devo was a perfect band for me to listen to at that point. And once I got into Devo, then I actually went to a concert where Devo played, and the opening band was a band called X. And X is the band that really got me into punk rock.
Oh.
X is a band from LA that were just pioneers in that whole punk rock thing, and they're great. So X is another band to check out.
That's cool. So besides music, I heard you had an interesting career. What is it?
I was a scientist. I was a geneticist. I worked. I got a PhD in molecular biology, and then I went to go work at a company called DuPont, which is actually here in Delaware, or was in Delaware, and that's kind of how I ended up. One of the reasons I ended up in Delaware was because I worked at DuPont, and that was what I did is I worked on plants, and I tried to make plants that were more efficient growing and more higher yielding for the farmers, because farmers need to have that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I did that through genetic techniques.
I don't think I've really ever heard the word molecular biology before.
Molecular biology. It's where biochemistry meets genetics together.
Huh.
It's where, if you think about what genes do, and you're interested in the genes that we have in our bodies, how they perform in your body, what they do, what their function is, that's basically molecular biology. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's this song? You have a song about getting old and wondering what life will be like. You don't seem that old yet, but did you think you'd still be playing shows at whatever age you are now?
No, I definitely didn't, especially because we talked about this other career that I had, so I had already kind of said, see you later to the whole rock world while I was at DuPont and just kind of doing my science gig. But I found that every time I came back to do shows, it's really what kept me feeling more youthful. So I feel like youth is a construct or age, I should say, age is a construct that doesn't have a lot of meaning if you can feel the way that I feel when I'm on stage. I don't feel my age. I feel, like 30 or something.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel about doing it at my age. There was a time when I would have poo-pooed the notion that, oh, you shouldn't be doing this in your 50s or 60s or whatever. But, there's plenty of examples of people that do that. The Rolling Stones are still doing it, so.
Oh, they're still playing?
Yeah. So why can't I do it if they can do it? I mean, it's great because we have a lot of peers in the punk rock genre that are kind of saying the same thing. Like, no, we want to keep doing this, and there's no reason we can't. We're basically, I'd say, putting our foot down and saying, you can't make us stop. We're only going to stop if it stops being fun. But that's the whole point.
Like death's going to make you stop.
Yeah, I'll probably die on stage. I don't know.
Okay, so do you live in a suburban home?
I do.
Nice. Do you still sleep on the floor?
No. No, that ended probably in '86. we did have our first rehearsal studio. We actually lived in it.
Oh.
And so a lot of times we had some beds built in the back. We actually constructed some beds in the back for people to sleep in, but a lot of times you just wasn't enough beds for the people. And so I would just sleep on the floor of the rehearsal studio. So that was that was a while ago. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so apparently you like food because it tastes good. What is your favorite food?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, probably pizza.
Nice. Yeah, pizza's really good.
Yeah, you just always can count on it. It's like,
I know.
when have you ever had a bad pizza? Even bad pizza is good, so.
Yeah, like you can't have that bad of a pizza.
No.
Like if
It's got to be really, really atrocious for you to be like,
it has to be
no,
like
thank you.
smothered in like dog poop or something.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to eat that, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the only way you can get a bad pizza.
Yeah, I don't think I want poop pizza.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
Yeah. Thanks for the tip on that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could have dinner with 3 people, either alive or dead, who would you choose?
John Doe from X, because I've actually met him now a few times, and every time I meet him, I'm just like, I am not worthy, I'm not worthy. But if I had dinner with him, then maybe we could just bro down. I wouldn't have to be so humming around him. So John Doe of X for sure. Alive or dead. Oh, great. Oh, yeah. I guess Gregor Mendel, he's a geneticist who discovered what genetics is.
Wow.
He's long dead, but I mean, the guy was a genius, so I'd love to have dinner with him.
That's cool.
Probably some good bratwurst, because he's German.
Nice.
And who's a third person? I guess, I don't know, Barack Obama. I don't know why. Just like,
I mean, he's cool.
Yeah, I just feel like, I think he'd have a lot to say about where we need to go as a country. I don't know. Of course,
Yeah.
I wish he had more power to do something about it, but what are you going to do?
Yeah. Okay, mine would probably be like, I don't know, Jamie Joster from Hatebreed, Greg Graffin, and so my great-grandma, when my mom was pregnant with me, she died, and I would love to just meet her, so
Yeah.
those are my 3 people.
That's a good point. People who you just barely missed out on meeting. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got to meet my grandfather, so same thing.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, I'd like to meet him sometime.
Yeah. Okay, so what advice would you give to your 10-year-old self?
Don't be such a wallflower. Don't be so shy. I was really shy at that age. I spent my early teens really just being afraid to be myself, because what are you? You're 10?
Yeah, I'm 10. Well, I'm
Yeah,
going to be
so-
11 tomorrow. But,
Okay.
Well, not when
So
this
what's-
comes out, not tomorrow.
So what's
but
going to
when-
happen is you're going to go into middle school, and there's going to be all these people judging you, and you're just going to be like, why are you judging me? And why are you forming these little cliques and excluding me and all this kind of stuff?
Actually, I'm homeschooled, but
Okay, well, maybe you can avoid all that. But that's one thing. I think after a while, what I found myself doing is just kind of like turning inward and not really, becoming shyer and shyer by the year. It wasn't until I joined the band really that I broke out of that. So we're talking, 6, 7 years later, where I was finally like, screw it. I need to be me. And if being me means being a dork, being a nerd, then I'm just going to embrace it. So what I'm going to say is, advice to give would be embrace who you are and let your freak flag fly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, being a nerd isn't a bad thing. If you're a nerd, you're usually going to be smart. And, yeah, nerds are just...
Yeah, well, I
Nerd is
mean,
not a bad thing.
that's the thing is I think it's better for nerds these days. I think nerds have a little more cachet than they used to. When I was growing up, you didn't want to be they call you a bookworm because you read so much.
Yeah.
I read a lot. I was a bookworm. Or I had glasses, so that made me a nerd because I had glasses. Or, I got good grades or whatever it is. All of it was just like, nerd. But, there's this movie called Revenge of the Nerds. I feel like that's what's happened. It's been the revenge of the nerds. And now it's cool to be a nerd.
Yeah.
Go Nerds.
I'm probably gonna watch Revenge of the Nerds sometimes.
Go for it.
Sounds
It's
cool.
good. Yeah.
So, would you like to add anything before we wrap this up?
No, I hope good luck with your show, Kids in the Pit.
Thanks.
Who did the art?
So we pretty much just like got it on Etsy, but we did add the rainbow guitar, we added the microphone and the podcast thing.
That's cool.
So
Yeah, pretty rad. And how was your Halloween experience?
awesome.
Yeah,
Got tons of candy.
tons of candy.
Because it was rainy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We only got one trick-or-treater group. One. It was awful.
You should just dumped all the candy.
I mean, the people that came, I was like, take it, you know.
Yeah,
so.
I got so much candy because of that reason. Like, since there weren't many kids, I got like handfuls upon handfuls of candy.
Yeah.
My bucket was overflowing. It was falling out like mid trick or treat.
Yeah, there's no shortage of candy when no one shows up. Yeah.
I ate about 10 pounds,
Yeah.
probably.
And you're gonna eat it all, but maybe not all at once.
Yeah, I'll probably eat.
You gotta sequester it away.
It's gonna take like a year to eat.
Yeah, and then it starts turning, the chocolate starts turning a little white, and you're like,
It does?
I'm eating it anyways. It just means that it's gotten kind of old. It's still good to eat, but it's gonna turn a little white, and that's when you know you've had it for too long.
Oh, and then so when it turns white, you're like, okay, I gotta eat this now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, Milo, for joining me for this interview. Thanks for all of you for watching or listening. Subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Spotify. Until next time, bye!
I like food. It's good. I like food.